Hey y'all, I'm Emily.
And I'm Sierra. Today we're going to share our tips on how to run a Session 0.
Session 0 is a special session that takes place prior to the start of the game. This is where you discuss the world, create characters, combine backstories, and set a social contract.
This is a great time for the players to workshop a backstory with the DM, discuss important NPCs to their story, and incorporate the other players in their backstory.
Part of that creation process is tied to creating a party origin. The party is what we call your whole group of player characters. The party origin is answering the question of, how did we all get together?
The answer could really be anything. Maybe you all grew up in the same town, you were united to overcome a big enemy, or you're all entertainers coming together to form the first ever rock band. Whatever the reason is, the point of this is to establish character connections with the rest of the party.
As a DM, make sure to discuss with your players what kind of game they want to play, whether that be horror, comedy, drama, or something else. Also asking them what type of gameplay they prefer, like combat, exploration, roleplay, or solving puzzles.
Most likely, not all of your players will enjoy the same type of gameplay, so Session 0 is the perfect time to learn an appropriate balance between all of them.
Now, the most important part of Session 0 is to create a social contract. A social contract outlines the expectations and boundaries of the players and Dungeon Master for however long you run the game.
Some of the general expectations groups will use include the DM respecting the players by running a fun, fair game, which gives each of them a moment to shine.
Also, having the players respect the Dungeon Master by allowing them to guide the story, mediate the rules, and settle arguments. The players should also respect the DM by listening when they're talking and accepting a no answer.
The players should respect each other by listening, supporting one another, and working together to help the party get along. Everyone should be aware that violating the social contract can lead to the individual being removed from the game.
And these are just a few examples of expectations listed in a social contract. Some groups may need more or less guidelines. One important piece to discuss together are each other's hard and soft limits.
A soft limit is a threshold someone should think twice about crossing because it may lead to genuine fear, anxiety, and discomfort for another player.
A hard limit is a threshold that should never be crossed.
Everyone has hard and soft limits, which may be uncomfortable for them to talk openly about. If you think some players may have a hard time speaking up in a group discussion, you could ask everyone to message you their limits directly or have them all write their limits on postcards to give to you. Once you have the soft and hard limits, share with the whole group what they are without sharing the name of the players.
Some of those limits could be, but are not limited to, unwanted flirting, gory description, scenes of intercourse, violence towards children and animals, overuse of swears, unwanted physical contact, shouting, vulgarity, distracting use of cell phones, disrespectful behavior, dice throwing, and for some, dice sharing.
If any of these hard or soft limits triggers apply to you, speak with your DM today.
Please make sure to discuss these limits, as DMs and players may have phobias or triggers that others may not be aware of. You can also bring this social contract up again during the game if it needs to be revised or reminded of again.
Some of these limits may even lead to house rules. For instance, we have personally seen a lot of contention come out of game from player versus player fighting. This has led to our house rule of players not being able to attack or kill each other unless they are being controlled by monsters or other pre-agreed upon conditions.
We have a list of all the additional homebrew rules that are of our own creation linked in the description below. Feel free to look through them and see if they would be good to apply in your campaign.
The point of Session 0 is to create a fun and safe environment for everyone to play.
So get out there, roll some dice, and have some fun.
Everything we've talked about today you can find in the additional D&D source book, Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, in the beginning of Chapter 4.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Put in the comments below the D&D questions you want answered.
And we'll see you next time!